Weddings seem about the same as they used to be, but they're even more of a big deal nowadays. People pull out all the stops, inviting every relative, wearing the most expensive clothes, and planning lavish honeymoons to far-reaching ends of the globe. But the reason for a wedding is still the same: love. Our perception of it may have changed over time, but in essence, love today is very similar to that of yesterday. Lorraine Stewart told me her first impression of her future husband. His name was Sibley Flandreau Stewart.
I thought he was nice, and I was perfectly happy to go out with him. To go out, to realize that I really liked this man. You know, how can you explain why you, well, what should I fall in love with, I suppose?
Over time, people have tried and tried again to define love. I don't think I truly have the answer for myself yet. But in various relationships, I've caught a glimpse of it. I've seen the love that my parents have for each other, and I think Lorraine saw it too in her parents.
They were just right. I thought they were perfect.
When I asked Lorraine to define love, she said,
Well, I'd have to think a lot about that, but respect, kindness, some kind of common interests.
With those ideas set out, she then went on to tell me about her husband.
He was bright, he wasn't foolish, knew his limitations. He enjoyed being with the boys, he enjoyed having a drink, and he knew how to handle it. He was very easy to get along with. We did not quarrel, never. He was just himself. He was an interesting man. It was all I needed.
Big companies and the media tell us that love is all about chocolates and hearts, but Lorraine's experiences with love are much simpler.
No, there were no flowers. None of that nonsense. It was a good match, that's all I can say. My husband has no fault.
Many people fantasize about or even plan their wedding years before it happens. I know I've considered marriage before. One might imagine a dramatic proposal on a beach or at a fancy dinner, but for Lorraine it was very different.
Well, he said, I suppose we should get married. I said, fine.
And so preparations began for their wedding.
When I chose this was the most expensive one. Oh, it was, I think the other ones were like $25. This was $100. And he didn't complain, but it wasn't what he had in mind. But I love it. My mother was a good seamstress, and she made a lot of clothes for me. And when I told her we were getting married, she said, I'm not making the gown for that. You have to have it done. So I had it made. It wasn't a long flowered, just a knee-length dress or, you know.
All this preparation for one day, but when you get right down to it, it's all about love. Whether in a movie, a painting, or in your own life, it's about making a connection, a promise, and keeping it.
It was a good marriage, and the omens were good, and they worked out wonderfully.